Hey everybody, it's Devin Smith here again. It's July 15th and I'm here in South Carolina for my summer training project with Campus Outreach from Minneapolis. We're getting to be about 3/4 of the way done with the trip here now. Gone through a lot of stuff. I don't remember exactly when I did my last video. I don't think it must have been like a week and a half ago or something. I don't remember for sure. But yeah, I'll just kind of update you on everything that's been going on in like the last week. Let's see, from last time then. Oh yeah, okay. So, starting off on Thursday last week, I guess. Thursday last week was our social, one of our fun nights that everyone on project kind of just gets to take a break from everything and just do something fun together in community. And so last Thursday was kind of a talent show, kind of like Whose Line Is It Anyway, the TV show, where we all drew 3 things from a hat. They were either props or themes, and we had like 3 or 4 days or whatever to kind of compile everything together and put together a little show. And I may have actually mentioned that in my last video, but we actually did it on Thursday then, the following day of that video. And so we we did a crazy show of Caterpillar, Romeo and Juliet, just based on the props that we used. There's some pictures on Facebook, you could take a look if you want. And so it was really crazy and funny, and everyone else had really great shows. People were dancing and singing and had all sorts of little skits and fun stuff. It was a really good time, a fun time to just be in community with the other people and just really enjoy some laughs with one another. Let's see, after that, you know, I still had work going on. I've been still working at Chick-fil-A in the kitchen and everything. It's a little bit nicer now because 4th of July, that whole weekend ended, and it's not as busy anymore. So it's a little more restful at work, and I'm just kind of easing into the comfortable stage, I think, of finally knowing where everything is, knowing how to do everything, and it's just kind of my job now to cook chicken, and I've gotten used to it, and it's more enjoyable, I think, that way too. Still a lot of dancing going on in the kitchen, lots of Spanish music and Spanish speaking. That's been good practice and everything. So that's kind of work. Nothing else really new there, I guess. Let's see, what else has been going on? Gosh, it just seems like everything's flying by so fast now. It's kind of, we've gotten into the routine of everything. You know, these days we'll have like Bible study training, and then we'll have life training, and then we'll have evangelism training, and then we'll have, you know, theme training, or the theme night with a specific theme to it. And I guess I can talk about that. That was something big that hit me. On this past Monday night, we had theme training on discipleship, which is something that hits home to me because it's the reason I'm here right now. It's the reason that I'm here in South Carolina, is because men were discipling me at the end of this past school year at St. Thomas. And discipleship is basically living life with one another, for men, living with other men, not necessarily even in like the same house or anything, but just living together, supporting one another, building each other up, and pointing each other to Christ, most importantly. And it's a way of sharing the gospel with people in a relational manner, and I think it's really important, especially like for college students. For me, having someone this past semester to just kind of go through my struggles with me and wrestle with my sin alongside of me was just so crucial for me, finding joy in the gospel, finding joy in what Christ has done for me. And so the whole night that we did that talk was given to us was to the flavor of discipleship. Biblically, I think the discipleship comes up a lot. There's a few verses that come to mind that I'll read. I've got my Bible right here. The first one is 2 Timothy 2:1-2. It says, "You then, my son, be strong in the grace that is in Christ Jesus, and the things you have heard me say in the presence of many witnesses, entrust to reliable men who will also be qualified to teach others." That's one of the big focuses of discipleship, is that, you know, like if someone gives a big talk to 1,000 people, and you know, like 1,000 people learn about Christ, but and which is an amazing thing. That's a great thing, that people would come to know who Jesus is, that he died for our sins, that he is the way back to the Father. He is the way to the kingdom of heaven, to be with God again. That's awesome. That's great. But biblically, what Jesus commands us to do, what Paul tells others to do in the New Testament, and all these other apostles, that teaching other people and equipping them in such a way that they can teach others kind of creates this multiplication effect, where, say, someone who discipled me, disciples me, teaches me, equips me, and therefore, because of what I know, I can begin teaching other people, and it just kind of trickles down all the way. We did this kind of crazy little, it wasn't that crazy, but it was just mind-blowing at the end of it to see that one man who, they asked people in the audience, so if you have been discipled by this man, please stand up. And so, like 5 people stood up. And then it says, if you've been discipled by these people who have been discipled by the original guy, please stand up. Another 10 people stood up. And they went down the line a couple generations, if you want to call it that, generations of discipleship. And even I was standing up at the end of that, because the person who discipled me had been discipled by another guy, who had been discipled by another guy, who had been discipled by another guy. By the end of that, within a span of about 5 years, there was about 25 of us in the audience who had stood up. And it's just it's incredible to see how God works through people like that, to reveal Christ through other people relationally, to further glorify him, to further spread that news. It's just really cool, and I'm totally in on the idea. I think it's great. I think it is biblical. I got a couple other verses too. I don't even know how well they relate. They were in the talk and they just kind of hit me at the time, so I wrote them down. I wanted to talk about it. Let's see. Yeah, Philippians 3:17 through 18 says, "Join with others in following my example, brothers, and take note of those who live according to the pattern we gave you. For, as I have often told you before, and now say again, even with tears, many live as enemies of the cross of Christ." And that verse really, I think, points to the fact that being in community, like we're doing here at Project, living amongst other people who can guide us, build us up, call us out when we do things wrong, is extremely important. It's really important to have that in my life specifically, but in everyone's walks with Christianity. Most of my life I tried doing it by myself, and I was involved with church stuff, youth group, all this type of stuff, but at the end of the day, I relied on myself for knowing God, and that is just not the way to do it. I failed miserably in that attempt, and now learning more about Christ, learning more about God with other men who can build each other up is just, it has totally transformed Christianity for me, and has made the gospel so much sweeter in that, and that's kind of what I think that verse points to. And then there was one more, Hebrews 3, 12 through 13, says, "See to it, brothers, that none of you has a sinful, unbelieving heart that turns away from the living God, but encourage one another daily, as long as it is called today, so that none of you may be hardened by sin's deceitfulness." Again, speaking to that same thing, that it requires hard work. It requires people speaking into your life to be focused on God. And we all fall short of that every day, but that's kind of the great thing about what Christ did for us, what grace is, that even though we are sinful, we don't deserve the goodness of God. He gave it to us in His Son. So this discipleship talk really hit me hard. It gets me excited for this next year of school and college, that I really want and desire to have other men continue to disciple me, to build me up so that I can come to know God more by studying the Word. Really, that's a big part of it, is studying the Bible together, but also just living amongst one another, encouraging one another, building each other up, and calling people out, like I said. It's super important. That's probably one of the biggest lessons I've learned just here at Project in general, specifically this past Monday night on theme night. So that was really great. That was a good time. I loved learning about that stuff more than I had known before. So that was one of the big things this week, I guess. other than that, trying to think. Well, last night was super fun because Thursday nights are social nights, like I mentioned with the whole Romeo and Juliet thing earlier. Last night was super fun. So I'll explain this. Sorry, transitioning from fairly serious and like meaningful to fairly frivolous and just a lot of fun. So last night's social was synchronized swimming, and so I think I mentioned this in past videos if you've watched, otherwise I'll quickly describe it again. But generally at Project, one of the things that men here will do is the guys' rooms will ask another girls' room on a group date, just as a way of serving the girls, you know, making them dinner or bringing them doing something fun, getting to know them better in a really healthy way, in a way that doesn't, you know, yeah, it's just a better way of doing it and being in community that way, getting to know one another. But we kind of flipped the script on that last night. The girls actually got to choose the guys, but they chose based on how well they performed in a synchronized swimming sort of show. And so each guy's room had to come up with a synchronized swimming routine set to music and everything to perform for specifically girls' rooms, and also to just the rest of the project in general. So it was awesome. There were so many funny things going on. Our room, I can speak to. We did Mulan. The song was "I'm Gonna Make a Man Out of You," and so if you haven't seen that song, you should watch the video on YouTube or something. It's really funny. Mulan's a great movie in itself, but that song we just thought would be really fun to do, and so we all had noodles and stuff in our hands. We were just like doing all the different actions and everything. I played the role as the captain, the guy kind of like who singles out Mulan and stuff, and it was just so much fun. It went really well. The girls that we performed for picked us, but then there was kind of like this white elephant Christmas element to it, because following girls' teams could actually steal teams that had already gone, so we actually got stolen by a different girls' room. And so everybody performed. It was a lot of fun. But then the second part of the night, beyond that, was that the girls took us on that group date that night. So we actually had a choose-your-own-adventure group date, which was super fun. So we, you know, I'll skip the choices and everything, but we ended up going bowling, and it was shenanigan bowling, not competitive bowling. So we all had to do crazy things while we were going up to throw the ball down the lane. We were dressed up as a boy band, so there was lots of pictures and everything. I dressed up like Justin Bieber. I'm sure there will be lots of pictures later on from that, but it was just a total blast. And after bowling, we went to Painter's, which is a homemade ice cream place, and the girls served us by getting us ice cream, and we just got to sit and talk and get to know them better, you know, for an hour or two or whatever afterwards. Just a really, really great time, a lot of fun. And so, yeah, that was last night, and then this morning we haven't really been doing too much. We had Bible study training, which was good, learning more about the importance of studying the Word every day. But other than that, I have work I gotta go soon. We have work very soon, so I gotta actually get off this video. But that's kind of what's been going on. So there's a good mix of learning and fun and work going on. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll try to keep updating. There's only going to be a couple left because there's only a couple weeks of project left. So I'll try to keep this updated frequently so you guys can be getting the scoop on what's going on at the end of summer training project here in Myrtle Beach. But thanks for watching. I will talk to you guys all like probably in a week or something like that. So thanks. See ya.